Who's the 2020 man who fights big government where he can?
Stoss!
Who is the man that stands up for libertarians?
Stoss!
Can you dig it? Who's the cat that won't sell out with high taxation all about?
Stoss!
Right on. See, this man Stoss defends the bad mother,
Shut your mouth.
but I'm just talking about the free market.
What can you do?
He's a complicated man, and no one understands him but his tax plan.
John Stossel.
Castlevania was released for the NES back in 1987 and tells the story of a man named Simon Belmont who's out to destroy Count Dracula. Seems like a simple premise, right? Armed with his trusty holy whip named the Vampire Killer, Simon pushes through Dracula's castle, destroying monsters and picking up additional weapons along the way. The game's publisher Konami would have you believe that Dracula is some horrible evil tyrant that needs to be killed. But is that really true? And even if it is, what's to say that Simon Belmont is offering a preferable solution? I'm here to tell you that this myth of the good and holy Simon Belmont is the biggest lie that's been sold to the public since the invention of corn pop cereal. This stuff isn't corn, nor does it pop. Simon Belmont has more than just a whip at his disposal. He can also pick up these throwing daggers, which frankly look more like a sword. I'm not sure how many knives exist that are the size of someone's leg. He also has these axes he can throw, along with that watch from the Twilight Zone that can stop time. These aren't the only things that worry me, though. Let's take a look at his other two weapons. First, there's this holy water he's throwing. Now yes, the instruction manual does refer to it as a firebomb, but it's clear that it's holy water. Then there's this boomerang that's actually a cross. These are considered to be the two most powerful sub-weapons in the game, and can make quick work of many enemies, including several of the game's bosses. So a blessed whip, holy water, and Christian crosses are the most powerful weapons in this guy's arsenal? Seems to me like Mr. Belmont is less of a savior and more of a theocratic zealot attempting the political overthrow of an established leader. He's not even being subtle about it. Simon is literally breaking into Dracula's home to kill him and all of his staff. First you kill his giant pet bat, then you kill his press secretary Medusa. After that, you kill the mummies that run the departments of agriculture and transportation, followed by Frankenstein's monster and Igor, who were in charge of commerce and the treasury. Then you slaughter the chief of staff Death, only to break into Dracula's quarters and kill him in the sanctity of his own bedroom. Not only does Dracula have every right to defend himself under stand your ground laws, but Simon has created two kinds of power vacuums due to his arrogance and holier-than-thou ways. By toppling Dracula, who was the effective ruler of the land, someone else is going to have to take over. Maybe it'll be Simon himself. If he does, though, he'll obviously be instituting a theocratic government. He may want other people to live under his Christian cross, but you know where he can put that thing? Well, he can shove it on the altar of any non-state affiliated property that he owns, because that is his right to do so. But it has no place in government. And if Simon Belmont refuses to accept that, he's no better than Count Dracula himself. And what if he doesn't take up the ruler of the land? Someone else is going to have to take over, and who's to say that that won't be even worse than Dracula? Clearly, this is a man without an exit strategy, whose own personal grudge has overridden any common sense he may have had. Then there's this whole matter of killing Death. You can't just kill Death, it's the natural order of things. Everything lives and dies. Without death, there's no funeral industry. Just imagine what that would do to the thousands of employees around the world. Not to mention the impact it would have in the pharmaceutical and healthcare sector. What good are any of those things if death doesn't exist? But what about the game of Castlevania itself? Is this game worth playing? These are the questions that you have to ask when you're an award-winning consumer reporter like I am. I didn't win 19 Emmy Awards just for whipping bats in the face. I only won 3 for that. This game is often stated as being one of the hardest games of its day, and it's still talked about for its punishing difficulty, and yeah, there's some truth to that, I'll admit. For the most part, the difficulty is fair, but there are some points where it seems a little ridiculous. For example, the further you go in the game, the more damage enemies do. And the placement of some of them can be particularly brutal and done so just to make you get knocked back into a pit. That's probably the biggest enemy in this game, the knockback. Every time you get hit, you're going to go flying backwards. Oftentimes this will lead to an instant kill as you dive into a bottomless pit and have to restart from earlier in the level. Making this all the more painful is that each time you do, you lose the whip upgrades, sub-weapons, hearts, and multipliers you have, which, by the way, did I mention you collect hearts in this game and they serve as ammunition for your sub-weapons? I don't know what kind of black market trading system the Belmont family is into, but it's a bit too free market even for me. I can only assume it has something to do with the violent form of Christianity this man practices, to where hearts are needed to empower his cross and holy water. Further proof that whatever theocratic government he decides to put in place would obviously bring ruination to the gold standard economy. Overall though, Castlevania's difficulty can be overcome with some practice and learning of enemy patterns. Let's take this fight against the Secretaries of Treasury and Commerce for example. If you're able to throw some holy water at them, it locks them in place so you can easily whip them to death with no issue. Similarly, Press Secretary Medusa can be stopped with a watch, allowing her to be murdered without recourse. The true difficulty is in this hallway here, the hallway to hell. You've got Medusa heads flying at you, axe armors charging you, and you're taking peaks amount of damage that can drain your health bar so rapidly, the fight at the end of the hall may be over in one hit for you. This is where the game gets a bit much with its level of challenge. There is a sense of reward for completing it though, even if you have just destroyed the boundary between church and state forever. One of the barriers for entry in terms of playing this game is how stiff the controls will feel to people. The whip takes time to deploy and hit enemies with, and movement and jumping is intentionally limited. When you jump, there's no altering of your momentum, and when you approach a set of stairs, you better be holding up or down, otherwise you'll plummet off the edge incredibly fast. Gravity is a law that has no mercy here. So is Castlevania worth your time and money? Yeah, you can play it on a number of re-releases, and it's a solid, challenging game, even if at times it's a bit stiff and frustrating. The soundtrack is stellar, the graphics are well done and atmospheric for the time, and it presents a classic kind of platforming action title that will test your skill. But is it libertarian? Not a chance. Storming into another person's castle to depose them as a ruler and install a religious leader who kills people with crosses, holy waters, daggers, axes, and whips? Maybe that works as part of your sadomasochistic sex games, but it doesn't fly in government. What do I know? I'm not a crazed madman with a whip and a vampire fetish. Give me a break.